I just I just don't know anymore. I just don't know. I really don't. I really don't know. When you have two guys like Russell Westbrook and James Harden on the same team, you think, this team's going to be great. It's going to be one of those big time contenders. They can make it far in the playoffs. They're that type of team. They just need to get it right. If you looked at those two guys, would you think to yourself, those two can only last 1 year? No. I'd say, yeah, I long term thing, maybe 3, 4 years. No, it's a year. Because guess what? Because guess what? Both. Russell Westbrook a few days ago said, "Yeah, I'm already done with Houston." After a year, we took your contract, Russ, and you already want out after a year. Now, truth be told, Russell Westbrook did little to nothing that we're used to seeing him do with the Rockets. He didn't really do anything. No, he scored stuff, but he just wasn't himself. And that's how it's been for him for years. He has not been himself. But something I always dreaded, something I've always said, that's never going to happen. And it's been my deepest, darkest fear in basketball, in the NBA. My deepest, darkest fear is if James Harden says, I'm done. Exactly what he did today. That's exactly what he did. I'm done. I don't know what to do. This just keeps getting worse. I don't know what to do. It started last year in November with the Astros cheating. We got so much hate for that. And then guess what? It keeps getting worse. They keep getting more heat. I get more heat. You know what? Texans, come out. Stink it up. Stink the bed. They blow a 24-point lead on the Super Bowl if they had beat the Chiefs. Now, the Rockets are in the mix for this crap. James Harden has finally sat down and said, I can't do this anymore, Houston. I'm ready to move on. He's not the only player to have ever done this. Dwayne Wade has done it before. I mean, he came back both times. He did it twice, and he came back both times. Hakeem did it. Went to the Raptors. Kyrie Irving did it. LeBron James did it, basically. But I never expected James Harden to do this kind of thing. I just don't get it. I don't get where this all came from. I don't get why Houston sports has become a living I'm not even gonna say it, a living hole of junk the last few years. Why? Now, I understand the Rockets are dysfunctional. We've all known this. We always knew the Rockets were dysfunctional. They've always kind of been a dysfunctional team. But why is James Harden all of a sudden like, oh, yeah, I want to leave? James, have you not noticed that y'all have been dysfunctional for a few years now? If you wanted to leave, you should have left a long time ago. Why are you saying this now? That would have made so many people better if you said, okay, I kind of want to leave, like a few years ago. You never gave that as impression. You never. James Harden he's been my idol. He's been my basketball icon that I've looked up to. Like so many people looked up to Hakeem. So many people looked up to Kobe. So many people looked up to MJ. I mean, this is like for me, this is like Michael Jordan leaving the Bulls for the Wizards. That's what it's like. And I can't help but just I'm in despair. This is one of the worst feelings I've ever felt when it comes to sports. One of the worst. It's right up there with the fact that the Astros cheated in 17 and it's kind of tainted now, even though I don't let that get to me. But I think what makes matters worse is that James Harden wants to leave us for the Nets. So, James, let me get this straight. You want to reunite with Russ, right? Right? And after a year with Russ, you say, okay, I want to go back to KD. What? 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 James, do you understand what you're doing here? If you go to the Nets, if you do go through with this whole trade thing, do you know how bad you're gonna look? And I'm sorry, you're gonna look pretty bad. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, James Harden's talent is too good. That's because the Rockets aren't gonna go anywhere with James Harden. James Harden, I love him. I love him as a player. He's such a great player. He's led this team so far sometimes. But we're not going to get anywhere with him if we keep having these like nobodies on our bench that can't really do anything. I'd say the only guys we have on our bench who can actually do stuff is Jeff Green and Austin Rivers. No one else. Daniel House is terrible. Eric Gordon is terrible. Who else? PJ Tucker's terrible. It's just we have so many false assets. And the fact that James Harden's problem is that he thinks he can't take into account the fact that sometimes it's his fault. It's always got to be everyone else's fault, and he can't fall into line. That is his problem. But I can't believe that he actually is going to do that to us and actually go. Because guess what? James Harden a few years back. I still remember that to this day. I still remember reading this to this day. He said, and this was his exact words. This was the article's exact words. James Harden says he wants to stay in Houston for the rest of his career. And then it said in little quotations, "This is home." Oh, right. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant said that, didn't he? When he was on the Thunder, Kevin Durant said something very similar to that and said, you know what? I kind of want to stay in OKC for a long period of time. He didn't do that. He left. He went to the Golden State Warriors to get an easy path to the ring.